Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled.
I'm Batman.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Dooby-dooby-doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman!
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
I'm Conor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel. Now I am immortal.
I'm Captain Kirk.
I'm a doctor. But probably not the one you expect.
Welcome everyone to this special Geek This Week's presentation. This is another panel from 2016 Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee. And this one is the Dawn Wells panel, Gilligan's Island, Marianne. And along with her is Dreamer Denver, the widow of Bob Denver, who we all know as Gilligan. So just sit right back and you hear a tale. The tale of the Dawn Wells panel from the 2016 Fanboy Expo in Knoxville, Tennessee. Enjoy.
And I want to introduce you to somebody that you probably don't even know about. Dreamer Denver, which is Mrs. Gilligan. She knows all the inside stuff about Bob. Be careful.
All the time. You gotta do is ask.
Well, how is everybody? Okay?
A lot of folks. Wow.
I don't know how this works. I guess people just raise a hand.
Yeah, you can raise your hand, you
Shout
can
out
do
loud.
sign language, you can salute if you like. Yes.
You can bow. I'd like that.
Question, because I've read about this, so I guess it's an urban myth. Is it true that you guys were set to do a fourth season and that you got canceled because the wife of the head executive of CBS was mad that Gunsmoke got pulled off the
Yes,
schedule?
it's absolutely true. It is. We had all the scripts purchased. We were going to Hawaii to film for the first time. It was all excited. It was our fourth year. We were in the top 10 in the ratings. And they moved us. Gilligan's, I'm making up the nights, but let's say first year we were Tuesday night, second year we were Thursday night, third year we were Saturday night, whatever that was. And they wanted to move us to Monday. They had a spot open. They were trying to sell a series from Dennis Weaver, I think, and they couldn't sell it. And so they decided to cancel Gunsmoke and put us in that spot. And Mrs. Paley, the wife of Mr. Paley, came back and said, "You can't cancel Gunsmoke. That's my favorite show." So they canceled us instead. But you know, we've never been off the air since 1964, and there's a reason. Whatever it is, it encompasses other languages, all ages, and all of that. So we didn't make any money. That doesn't mean anything, but I mean, it means a lot, but we didn't make not a dime in residuals.
That's the truth.
It was about $1,200 or something once it went into VHS or something ridiculous.
There was $1,200?
Yeah, every once in a while we get a $2.95 check or something.
I've never seen that stuff, I can tell you that.
Yeah. When you stop and think about the money that the Friends and people like that are making, $2.5 million a week, and we've never been off the air. Not a nickel. Mr. Schwartz, I did a thing for CBS called TV Moguls. All the people who made all the money. And Mr. Schwartz made $90 million on Gilligan's Island alone. Not the Brady Bunch even. So he could have split $1 million between the seven of us, but he didn't.
My heart breaks for this billfold, doesn't it?
That's right.
I just wanted to say how wonderful it is to meet you, and I just wanted to ask if there was a movie to be made about Gilligan's Island and stuff, who would you want to play your part?
I've had that question several times. I don't think there's anybody out there. I don't know the younger generation. What do you think, Julie?
I don't know him either.
I mean, nobody could play Gilligan, period.
No, when they were talking about a movie, which has been talked about, I don't know if you guys ever heard the rumors, but for 30 years at least. When they first started talking about a feature film, it was going to be John Goodman and Tom Hanks. Which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah, wait, we're talking 30 years ago. Like bosom buddy time or something. Well, I never met him for real. You have, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that was so wonderful about Bob was he just was this rubber person. He could fall out of trees, and he really was. His physical comedy was incredible, and I don't think many people can do that. I think you can never get the chemistry back. You can't. You can't get Laurel and Marty, have somebody else do that. You can't. I think it would have been wrong to do.
I think so too, but they've talked about it forever.
Yeah.
Michael Cera, do you know who that is, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, he was the most recent one about 3 years ago.
Considered?
That was considered for Gilligan. See, I don't know his work that well, so.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, they kept saying, for Mary Ann.
Then there was the Dreamcast with Beyonce for Ginger.
Oh,
and I'm telling you, I can't even imagine what that would have cost if they'd gotten all the people that were talking about it one time.
10 cents, it cost 10 cents.
Hello, Ms. Wells. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet my first crush.
Good choice.
On Renegade Nation, I've got a two-part question.
Okay.
What was your initial response 10 years later when they brought Gilligan back in the 70s? And who was your favorite guest star to work with on the show?
Who was your favorite guest star? That's because we got all excited when we had a dream sequence and some guest stars came on. I know when we had Don Rickles, Sherwood Schwartz said it was a 4-day shoot, and if it had been a 5-day shoot, he wouldn't have hired you because you can't laugh that long, that many days in a row. I don't know who would be the favorite. They were all so good, and we were all so happy to have a little plot a little bit different. I don't think there was any negativity anywhere. I don't think anybody disliked anybody or were unhappy with anything. We couldn't believe what it was. But
Wasn't Vito? That was one of Bob's favorites. And he did a lot of different.
He did all the
character
science
parts.
stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite was just looking at Roy Calhoun. He played the Great White Hunter, and he was dressed in that safari outfit. He was a huge, handsome movie star. Did you see that? Oh, Tina and I used to just walk around behind him. He was so handsome, and he had 5 little girls, and they all dressed alike, and these 5 little tiny little girls. He was really a hunk.
Was there ever any pranks or goofing around on the set that was completely off script?
Not really. They do a lot of stuff now. They play tricks on each other and everything. Did Bob ever talk about that? I don't think we did anything. First of all, Bob and Alan were working awful hard. Bob did a lot of his own stunts. So that was physical comedy. It's a lot different than being witty.
He was in almost every scene.
Yeah.
So it was constant.
Yeah. And the person with the funniest sense of humor was the professor. He was really witty. He was very funny. And the rest. We were and the rest, you know. We used to send each other cards, love the rest.
I was wondering.
Wait, I can't see from my
I was wondering if there was ever any explanation for the crew or for the actors why everybody packed so much for a 3-hour tour.
I
think they probably know Dawn Wells because she packs for everything. I have enough here I could live for the rest of my life. That is the main question, and I guess that's. Yeah. I don't know why the boat didn't sink just with the luggage.
That's true.
It's funny. Who did the laundry? Ginger was always immaculate with that laundry. No stains, no dirt, no anything. All the makeup. I remember Tina getting his false eyelashes from New York. Now everybody's wearing $50 a pair. They were mink. Mary Ann didn't wear any makeup at all. $50 worth of Anybody else? Way back there.
Yes, I'd like to say as one of the honeybees, you were by far the best. Your dancing skills were incredible. My question is, was that actually you singing?
No.
Yes.
It was me dancing. After the first episode we were doing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow for something, and sure was everybody sings. I said, sure, but I can't carry a tune. He said, go ahead, go ahead. And after we sang once, he said, you're right, just stop singing. And I have a very funny story about that. I was doing a movie up in Montana called Winterhawk, all on location. And we were in the middle of this field, and I was playing missionary. And the group of the church were all around me, and the producer-director said, now I want you to lead them in Amazing Grace. And I said, I can't sing. He said, everybody can sing, give it a try. Well, after I gave it a try, he said, you're right. You can't sing. So he got one of the extra girls. She was in her long dress. I straddled her like this. She was here. I put the dress over her head. And I sang. And her voice came from my stereo. And this is even better, about 6 months ago, I'm at a restaurant in Los Angeles sitting at the bar with my date, and this woman sits next to me. She said, I was the girl under your skirt. That's Hollywood, you know, it's so real.
What was your favorite episode to make?
Favorite one to make? I think we liked the dream sequences where we could play the funny little people different than just Marianne. I don't think there was a favorite. Every time we read the script, we'd say, what? Who's coming on the island? Kurt Russell was 12. He played the Jungle Boy. I don't think, did Bob have a favorite?
Yeah, he did. He liked the Gunsmoke Takeoff. Do you guys remember that one?
Yes.
He got to play Marshall Dillon, and
I think I played Little.
And when you guys switch voices, he liked that one.
That was hard.
But that was just really hard.
Hard, and Russell said, I can't talk as fast as you do, Dylan.
Well, nobody can.
That's true.
Up front.
Who was your best friend of the castaways?
Best friend, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Well, I think probably Russell, because we were the rest up in the corner all the time. But and we had kind of more time to visit. Bob and Alan worked every single shot just about. There's anybody we didn't like. We were really a family. I loved them all. Ginger. No. I'm kidding. She was a movie star, however. She really was. She was not 100% with us at the beginning, I don't think. I think she was a big movie star and wasn't sure what she got into. But she warmed up. And she's embracing it now. I mean, we have been on the air 50 years. 50 years.
This is for Bob's wife. What kind of a person was he in real life? Was he just, like he was on the show, or was it just...
We had no hammocks, no coconuts at home. No. He was, what people I think would find most surprising about him is he was highly intelligent, extremely well-read, could talk to anybody, honestly, you know this, about anything. But he was also very, he really cared about his privacy and his ability to just sort of be without being on all the time. He wasn't a real, he would have done this and enjoyed it with you guys, but it wasn't easy for him, I don't think, to kind of do this and give himself that way.
Kind of shy. I got a feeling that
He was sort of shy.
Not an outgoing personality as much as a thinker.
Yeah,
you know.
big time. People used to ask me when we first met, I was an actress. I was in one of the Gilligan movies, as a matter of fact. And we worked on stage together, was how we met, and they would ask me in interviews what I fell in love with. And it really was his brain. He had a brain that just went outside the box. He didn't color inside the lines. You know, I was from a very normal middle-class family, so he was very intriguing to me that way. And a good storyteller. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. And I think the intelligence is what really, you wouldn't expect it, I think, because he played such a cute buffoon. But he really was bright.
And people who get it really do understand that you can't be that buffoon and play that buffoon?
I was doing a thing called Country History in Los Angeles, and I discovered there's about 8 or 9 theaters downtown that are as big and as beautiful as Broadway. And they are closed and they're remodeling. And one of the owners or builders was Charlie Chaplin. And while we were researching some of this, do you have any idea who Charlie Chaplin's best friend was? Albert Einstein. Think about that. Think about the genius of Charlie Chaplin and the genius of Einstein, and that's kind of what Bob is. There was a lot in here that you didn't know, and yet he could play that wonderful comedy. Very rare, I think.
I was wondering, did you know Bob when he played Maynard G. Krebs for Grand?
No, did you?
No, I was this big when he did that.
I wasn't born yet.
No, I was a wink in my father's eye, I think, at that time. No, but he loved that part, and one thing that he always, in interviews, would talk about was the fact that he got the best of both worlds in his career. He always felt that. He had Max Schulman's words to say, and a really prolific Hollywood writer with great word comedy. Then, after he was so successful in that part, and was offered something else, he wanted physical comedy, and along came Gilligan's Island. So he always felt he had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got you too. That was a good thing.
Thank you. I think so.
We're going to put it. So.
Two-part for Dawn. Why are you so gorgeous and will you marry me?
Well, no, I may consider this. I'm single.
I am too. I've been in love with you since the first episode of Gilligan's Island.
Well, you know, Mary Ann would have been your first crush, I think. She'd have been your best friend. She'd have gone to prom. Ginger was a little high maintenance for a young boy. The grown-ups liked her, but she was. Mary Ann was your neighbor, your sister, your best friend.
She was my girlfriend.
Did you take me to the prom? Thanks.
I wanted her to be. I been just I always thought so Gilligan really wasn't. He did all that stuff on purpose. If I'd been on Island with you, I wouldn't have been
Well, Russell and I used to, because we were and the rest, we used to send each other's cards, love the rest. I think we were sort of, hey! All back there.
So I'll slip her your number afterward. Let's see, up here.
How long does it take to film an episode?
How long does it take to film an episode?
Oh, that's a good question, because a lot of times now they have audiences, you know, so they rehearse and then they do it in front of an audience. It was one a week. It took us a week. Most of the time Bob was doing all the stunts. He had all that physical comedy he had to do. But it took a week. We tried a table read at the beginning where you sit around and read the script. It was ridiculous. Read the script. Bob's hanging out in a tree. Bob fell down. Well, you were through reading the script in 30 seconds, but it took a lot of work. And the combination of Bob and Alan together was brilliant, and the respect for each other. Nobody was there trying to be a star. Nobody was there saying, this is my show. It was a team effort, and I think that's what kept us going so long. I think you saw that. We were a family, really stranded on an island, loving each other. It was good.
Did you ever get tired of making and eating banana cream pies?
No, but I had to do something, I don't know, for a Captain D's or something where you got a pie in the face. And Bob said to me, I got to tell you to be careful, because when you get hit with a pie with the cream, you inhale. You go like that and you can choke. He got a lot of pies in the face.
Did you get all that cream?
Where did I get my clothes? I did all the laundry. We had no soap. What was wonderful was the prop people. When you really look and see what that stuff that we did, they made all that stuff. You didn't go to Kmart and buy it. They made the washing machine and the bicycle and the little car and the stuff we ate, the little wooden plates and all of that. They had a good time, the prop people. It was all their imagination, and it was great. And then the other thing I love, we had a lagoon. We shot at Malibu the first, I don't know, a few episodes, and it was so foggy we couldn't go there. So they built a lagoon, and they dug a hole, and there's a little waterfall and water, and they bring in palm trees in pots and cover them with orchids and everything on Monday and Tuesday, let's say. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, Gunsmoke would use that lagoon, and they bring in pine trees and tumbleweed. They're completely changing the landscape. And you can change the living room, but that's really funny. I don't know where they put all the palm trees. And I had kittens that were born on the set. I had a little baby sparrow that fell out of my tree, and I'd bring it to work when we were shooting at the beach some. And all the crew would come in with little tweezers and feed my little baby sparrow. It was a family. It was great. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit when you were on Alf in the 80s, I guess?
Yeah, we weren't allowed to say anything. Did Bob ever talk to you about Al?
You know, he never did. I mean, I knew obviously he did it.
I mean, it was a puppet underneath the floor. Nobody knew really what Alf was, and it was a puppet underneath the floor, and you couldn't reveal that it wasn't a real person. We did a lot of. It's easy to do a Gilligan's Island, a party. It's easy to give a Gilligan's Island party. Everybody comes dressed as their favorite. You can be glamorous as Ginger or the Howells. I still have my short shorts. If you could find everybody, you could get into them.
Did Bob ever fashion himself after anybody like Dick Van Dyke, and did he ever get hurt on set during his sets?
I don't think he ever fashioned himself after anybody, though he had great respect for Dick Van Dyke, certainly. Hurt on set. You know, the story I remember most, and you may or may not remember this, Dawn, about being hurt, was actually he and Alan were doing something. And he did talk about Alan was such a big teddy bear of a guy. Bob always felt really, really safe with him. Falling out of the hammock onto him. Alan always took care of him, but they were doing something one day out of a tree, and Alan didn't tell anybody, but actually broke his wrist doing this scene and continued. Did you
To work, yeah, he was climbing. He was by himself. I don't think he was with Bob. He was supposed to be crawling out on a limb.
Okay.
And the limb broke, and he fell into the cement. Worked the whole day.
Worked the whole day with
Then
that?
went in and got his wrist set. He didn't tell anybody that he was hurt. But also, Bob had a double. Didn't DRC break his back? I think falling down a hole, going head first into something was really tough, and I think Bob's double.
Bob actually broke his neck once, but not on Gilligan's Island.
Grief.
No, he didn't.
After.
No, before, I want to say before, when he first got the part of Maynard G. Krebs on Debbie Gillis, you guys know that, he was actually in a car. He had just picked up a tux, driving somewhere, turned a curve, the tux slid, he turned around to grab it, hit a tree, broke his neck, and I don't know if you guys remember during Debbie Gillis when Michael J. Pollard came in, played Maynard's cousin, and came in to take over the part because Bob had been drafted and he had to go report in, and he got down there because he had had a broken neck.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He was deferred, and Michael J. Pollard got paid for an entire season at that time of Debbie Gillis and said he had always been told that when you came to Hollywood, the streets were paved with gold. So he thought that was pretty good. Yeah, but Bob didn't go through all that. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was with Maynard, yeah.
We got our last question right here.
Last question.
Hi. Were you asked to play the part of Marianne, or did you actually audition?
Oh, I auditioned. There was a pilot made with 7 other people, and they recast. And so they were casting for Marianne, and the call went out, and I was an ingenue. Dreama knows she's an actress. When there's an ingenue, you know, there's about 100 of you that are up for everything because you're all the same age, same type kind of thing. And I went in and had an interview with Sherwood Schwartz in his office, and we got along. We were laughing and quipping and that kind of stuff. And then they called and said that they were going to test some girls, but they were going to test me the second go-around, not the first go-around. And my agent said, you test her first time or don't test her, one or the other. So he kind of played his hand to do that, and so they tested me. But we were at CBS TV Center, and twice the size of this room. They were testing for gingers, and they were testing for professors, and they were testing for all of us to kind of do the replacements. And I insisted on the hairdo. I said I wore that as a little girl, and I think that's Marianne. And I insisted on the gingham. Ethel Weiner was vice president of CBS at that point. She said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure, that's who she is. So I tested and tested and tested. And they dwindle it down. And I keep hearing rumors, excuse me, that Raquel Welch tried out for it. I don't think so.
I was just gonna ask you that.
I hear that from everybody. I think I would have remembered if she'd come in and get tested against me. And she'd have been a better ginger than Mary Ann. She was so sexy and all of that. But I remember, I guess at CBS TV City, there's monitors of television everywhere, even in the men's room and everything. And one of the executives said, "I'm so sick of that Kim top. Can you just change clothes once?" But when you dwindle down and you never know. When you're an ingenue like that, you're up for everything.
Was it true Carol O'Connor was up for the skipper, or tested for the skipper?
He didn't test, I don't think.
Oh, he didn't?
I don't think anybody tested for Ellen or Bob.
Okay.
I think they were considering, but I don't think so.
But you know that you guys probably know that Sherwood's first choice for Gilligan was Jerry Van Dyke.
Yeah. And Jerry's really good. I don't think he could have done the physical. Yeah, and I don't know that the chemistry would have been as good either. You know, so you just get lucky. I do a lot of theater, so does Dreama. And when you find a cast where you all understand each other and nobody's trying to outdo each other. I mean, there was none. I had just a wonderful story to tell you about Bob. What a wonderful man he was. He has several children, and he had Patrick, who was about 5 at the time. And Patrick played in Jack and the Beanstalk. Alan was the giant, and Patrick was Gilligan. And the goose, I remember little Patrick hanging on to that goose that was flying his wings and everything. So I asked if Patrick could spend the weekend with me, or spend the night with me. He said yes. So we're getting ready to go, and Patrick, Bob said he'd probably go to sleep in the outfit. He probably won't take it off. I said, that's okay. And just before he left, Bob got down on his knees, and he took Patrick's hands, and he said, now Patrick, you just give Mary Ann lots of love. Not mind your manners and be a good boy, none of that. Just give Mary Ann lots of love. I think that's a very sweet thing for a father to do.
He was that way.
He was.
He was that way.
Why was that the last question? You came all the way in here and sat for just 4 questions. You want to know something really personal? You don't know anything.
And we're supposed to let them know that we have books and things.
Oh yeah, gosh sakes.
Here. But one thing I want to say about Bob, because this is something that my book is about, that you may or may not know, probably don't know about him. Bob and I, well into his career after Gilligan's Island, after the Gilligan movies, we had a child together in 1984, and that child ended up being diagnosed with severe autism. And honey, I have to sing your praises here, because rather than being a woman whose husband said, you do it, I can't do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm a big TV star, I'm going to do my thing, you handle this. This man, as Dawn knows, stayed with me the last 20 years of his life. That is what he did. He devoted himself to our severely autistic son, with me, taking care of him 24 hours a day, 365. And that really is who Bob Denver was as a man, as a husband, and as a father.
I remember And I remember him saying to me, I have a very special child. We communicate in another way.
It was true. I mean, he was the perfect person for, I keep popping my peas here. The perfect person, really, to go through that with, because I don't know if anybody in here deals with anything like that, but it's so overwhelmingly stressful, day after day, decade after decade. And he just, not that he never had his moments, but he really kept both of us centered. You know, it's going to be okay.
And I think you saw that soul in him. I think that's why you loved him. He wasn't just acting. There really was a soul, both of them, both he and Alan, both together. As a matter of fact, I was Ann the Rest, the professor and I were Ann the Rest, and Bob finally said, that's ridiculous. You put me in the back of the building then. I don't know what the expression was, he said that to you, but he really fought for the fact. He said, there's only 7 people, how stupid is this?
He said it's an ensemble. And he said, if they're going to be in the back of the credits, I'm going to be in the back of the credits. And the suit said, no, you're Gilligan. He said, I don't care. Fix it. And they did.
They did. Finally.
Yeah.
Is there somebody else coming in?
You've got a photo shoot in a little bit, so
Okay.
I want to go down there and get pictures with you.
Are there any more questions? Are you through? We don't mind staying, but it's okay. Yes, there's one over here.
I've seen you on TV recently doing a promo spot in between on MeTV, the memorable.
It's so much fun. I'm the ambassador for MeTV, and what's so great is when we were doing the show, you don't get home till 8:30 or 9 o'clock sometimes. I missed half the shows. that were on at that time. So now I get to see all that stuff. Yeah, it's great. And it's a channel that your kids can watch, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Are you doing anything else right now? I mean,
Constantly. I've done a book, What Would Marianne Do? Which is really a good question, isn't it? I mean, it's all Kardashians and Miley Cyrus's and $500 purses today. Marianne had a lot of values and so I've written a book about that. Reema's written a book. We both do theater. I'm working all the time.
What kind of theater? Community or,
Dinner theater a lot. That's kind of gone by the wayside. I did the national tour of playing a song. Can I sing?
I saw her.
Almost.
Bob and I both actually came to see you.
Yeah, that's when I blew my voice out, didn't I?
You had laryngitis when you saw me.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Probably should have done it forever. It was a horrible experience. I tell you one cute little story though. I've been a dancer, but I couldn't sing. And I was rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing. I just replaced someone. So you're in a room by yourself with a piano player and the assistant director saying, "Now you dance over here and you do this over here." Never having done anything with the cast at all. And I opened on a matinee, in the Sunday matinee, and the curtain is here, and all of a sudden the orchestra starts to play. Well, I just had a little piano player giving me the tunes, and the orchestra's right there, almost terrified me. And I had we were performing in front of West Point, 20,000 men. It was wonderful. And I had a fringe dress on, and they're playing our song, and I'm dancing away, and and in the theater you underdress, because you have to change costumes so much, so you might have 2 or 3 costumes on at once. I got backstage with all the cadets out there, went backstage to change clothes, and I didn't have anything on underneath my dress except pantyhose. All I could say was, imagine discovering that when I'm in the middle of the dance with all those 20,000 men sitting in front of me. I don't think they saw anything, but that was enough to give me a heart attack right there. Anybody else?
Everybody give a big hand to got a professional photo op, guys. Get pictures with these other ladies, so please stop by and do that. Thank you, ladies.